Okay, good morning. It is me, Dr. Donna. I'm finishing up my oatmeal. My tablet says it's not, I was going to say 9:30, 5:30. And so we're getting ready to get started. I'm going to do some breathing just to quiet everything down and notify the prefrontal cortex that we're going to be learning something new today to support its own growth and development. I'm going to count you in a descending fashion, 3, 2, 1, and then you'll inhale and exhale, and then inhale and exhale. 3, 2, 1. Okay, what you see on the screen is what I post every day, and it is the levels to go from an untrained, dysregulated, comfort-seeking survival brain to a high-functioning, excellence, emotionally neutral brain in the SGACC. Good morning, Lacey. You start out on level 1 on Be Well Nola on Instagram with a 7-day free trial Neuro Reps. You're finding out how comfortable and how survival mode your brain is in those 7 days. Upon successful completion of that, your brain is now waking up. It takes 8 days to create a synaptic connection. That's why when you go through consecutively and you do your first day on level 2, things start feeling different neurologically because you are strengthening the neural reps. So the basal ganglia is getting accustomed to doing neural reps every day. You spend 30 consecutive days at level 2, strengthening your brain. You're undoing the comfort, the safety, and the survivalness of day-to-day life. 37 days on Instagram, takes 21 days to cement a habit in the basal ganglia. So you now have that neural habit in your brain. The neural pathway is there. And then you elevate to level 3, which is here on YouTube. And then you spend 90 consecutive days here in advanced neural reps. So now you're shedding and shredding all of those somatic markers that you encoded. You're finding out more about the brain and how it functions. You're doing self-reflection in your default mode network, and you're experiencing neural clarity quite frequently, if not all the time, multiple times throughout your day. At that point, you are now leveling up to level 4, and now your brain is ready to start incorporating and inculcating the 74 principles of real leadership into it, and you will not experience cognitive overload because of the work that you did prior to level 4. After 180 consecutive days, now you have a strong prefrontal cortex, a neutral SGACC, and you have the 74 principles of real leadership, and you've been doing this for 307 consecutive days or more, depending on how comfortable your brain was. Now you're ready to start having excellent experiences day in and day out. Those two paths are RL programs or real leader resources. RL programs are 365 consecutive days, and then you can elevate to the next level. And real leader resources, at that point, your brain is conscious enough and cognizant enough to say, ooh, this is something that I wanted to work on the whole time, and now I have full cognition. I have full, complete understanding of how my brain works. I'm ready for excellence. Let me go off and pursue these things that I've always wanted to do. That is how you take an untrained, comfort-seeking, safety brain and survival brain and transition it to a brain that operates at optimal level, accessing those 86 billion neurons with the accompanying 85 billion. It's almost a one-for-one swap with the glial cells. And that's what we're talking about today, is the first portion of a glial cell, which is astrocytes. So let me get to my handy-dandy graphic. Look at the real leader brain, looking all dapper in that purple suit. And we're ready to go. Let me flip this back over. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is me, the amazing Donna Thomas-Rodgers. I am the daughter of Leslie Darnell Thomas, the granddaughter of Arthur Jethro Evelyn II, and the great-granddaughter of Levi Thomas. This live is sponsored by the Elements H2O. When I say drink water, I will drink water and you will respond with drink water, and we will hydrate our brain as this is a mental workout. Good morning, Regina. Drink water. Now, yesterday, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about the glial cells. Today, we are talking about the astrocytes. And so I'm learning, you're learning, and we're going to learn this together. We're going to implement this together. Regina says she's listening. Okay. So, and Daisy said drink water. So here is, wait, there we go. I'm like, that's not where I need to start at. As we know, quantum philosophy, I'm saying the name wrong, said something about the astrocytes last week. And I looked it up. I was like, okay, I'm unfamiliar with the astrocytes. Let me look this up. This is something that we will talk about. So I looked up the astrocytes, found out it was a glial cell, then said I needed to tell you about the glial cells. It was only supposed to be one day, and now it's going to be a whole week because they are extremely important because it's a 1-to-1 ratio. Basically, it's 85 billion of them to 86 billion. It's like 85 billion and some change. Almost 86 billion. So there's a 1-for-1 swap. So if you have the neurons, good morning, Monique, you need a supporting cast. And this week, today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Saturday, we will be talking about those 4. And I messed up a couple names yesterday. I'm probably going to be 2 weeks, 3 weeks getting the names correctly on these, and then I will know them. And they will be in my hippocampus and stored there, and I will be able to recite them correctly. But for now, learning is a process. And me being a neophyte and things, I don't care about saying something wrong. Because in 3 years from now, nobody's even going to remember. Then we pull this video out like, remember when you said that wrong? Yeah, I told y'all. I have a deficiency in my orthographic processing center when it comes to basic phonics. That's why it took me so long to learn how to read. And even with that deficiency, I'm still here. So the astrocytes are star-shaped cell support cells in the brain. That's what I look at. Over there looking all glorious. All right. And they're in the spinal cord as well. And so they are a type of glial cell. They are not neurons, but they are absolutely essential for how your brain functions. Think of neurons as the signal senders. Neurons communicate with each other. They emit neurotransmitters, and so they send messages all over. And the astrocytes are the regulation and support systems that make signaling possible and stable. So they make that signaling possible and they make that signaling stable. What is it that they actually do? I'm glad you asked. They maintain chemical balance. So astrocytes regulate the following: the potassium levels outside of neurons, the neurotransmitters like glutamate, and the overall extracellular environments. So without this, neurons would overfire or shut down. So they are creating regulation. That potassium stays in. They are making sure that glutamate is at the level that it needs to be at and its overall extracurricular environment. Number 2, they help form blood and brain barriers. And I mentioned this yesterday. So their end feet, as you can see on the end, wrap around blood vessels and they help control the following: what enters the brain from the bloodstream. That's important. I don't know why we don't talk about glial cells as much as we need to. We talk about that damn the GABAs, and I understand that's the neurotransmitter is important, but what enters the brain from the bloodstream? That sounds muy importante. So nutrient delivery and toxin protection. They are gatekeepers. I hadn't heard of an astrocyte, not even in my neuroscience class. And we owe it to quantum philosophy for saying that. And now I could be like, don't be saying no extra shit in my comments. But I said, what is that? And I heard from my higher power, I said, look that up. That seems like that's important. That's important. So it determines they determine what enters the brain from the bloodstream. The nutrient delivery and the toxin protection. This is a major one as well. They regulate synapses. So the astrocytes sit at the synapses and they clear out the extra neurotransmitters. So they modulate the signal strength and they help shape learning and plasticity. So when the neurons are firing and wiring, there's a release of a bunch of neurotransmitters, and some of them get to the postsynaptic connection and some of them don't. And they clear those excess neurotransmitters out, put them back into the synaptic terminal. I learned that in my class, that part. So modern neuroscience calls this the tripartite synapse. So it's a neuron plus an astrocyte. That's what they're doing. They respond to injury. When the brain is injured, astrocytes become active. They form scar tissue and they protect surrounding neurons. So they're gatekeepers, they're supporting in synapses, and they are there to protect the brain and the surrounding neurons. That's scar tissue. They also support learning and memory. Learning and memory. And they influence the long-term potentiation. They call that LTP. They modulate energy supply during cognitive effort. So when you are using your brain, they are giving it energy for that cognitive effort. And they coordinate neural networks via calcium signaling. So they're responsible for potassium in the neurons and calcium signaling. They are not passive at all. They actively participate in your cognition. They are there. Now you understand why glial cells are so important. I said this yesterday to Regina's question. They are the supporting cast. So yeah, the neurons are firing and wiring, but they might overfire or underfire. They might be too excitatory or too inhibitory. So the astrocytes are there regulating. They're there cleaning up the extra neurotransmitters. They're there repairing and scar tissue and making sure there's some installation around there. Not the myelin sheath, but they're protecting the surrounding neurons when there's injury. That's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So here's a simple definition. Astrocytes are star-shaped glial cells that regulate, protect, and they stabilize the brain's neural environment so neurons can function properly. They're doing all of that so that the neurons can communicate, fire and wire, create those neural pathways. They're there so that it can happen, so that magic can happen. So now you understand the importance of them, and we cannot not say what they are. We can't talk about the brain and all of the wonderful things. I see what you did, Lola. Got it. So what are y'all thoughts about astrocytes before I move on and tell you what principles of real leadership is taking place? What's the thoughts about it? I'm going to go back. I'm going to say what it does from principles of real leadership perspective, and then go into some more, and I'm going to summarize it. So if it feels foreign and you sit over here like, the fuck, it's okay. It's no. I understand it. Because yesterday you probably had never heard of a glial cell before yesterday. And I'm learning too. So I'll do my best to answer your question. Because I'm going to talk about the difference in the regulated brain and the dysregulated brain as well. And then roll it back to, let's just make sure we got it. They are important for the neurons' environment to work their magic. Yes, ma'am. They are muy importante. And they need to be mentioned. The background artists. People don't even think about when you see movies and television. If you did not have them $15 hour background artists sitting there, the scene would be flat. People walking through, cars driving through, and everything else. It adds to what it is that you're actually paying attention to. It adds to it. We can drink water. Lacey is thinking. Good morning, Jared. Thank you. Incredibly interesting. You and your emojis, Lacey. I'm learning how to speak emoji based on the amount of emojis that you use. Okay. So the principles of real leadership that actually are combined, and good morning, Lola, with the astrocytes are these. They eliminate distractions. If you're going to learn something, you need the distractions eliminated. They eliminate and minimize stress. A stressed brain cannot learn. It cannot learn no matter what you do. If you got a cortisol-laden brain, access to the executive function is going to shut down. And there, I think I'm about to sneeze. 1 second. Am I? Yeah. A stressed brain can't learn. Stay focused. So if you think about eliminating distractions, you need that to stay focused. Be prepared. Be prepared. It's one of the 74 principles of real leadership. It is there for preparation. And I tell you, a stressed brain cannot learn. If you don't have a why and a strategy, you are not prepared. You're going to end up with a dumbass decision and a dumbass plan. That's why you are prepared. Always be prepared. That's where the whole, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Well, you got to be prepared to get ready in order for you to be able to stay ready. Inspect what you expect. We had someone on a TikTok live this morning that wanted to keep commenting. I asked them to stop because it was distracting me. It was tactful and kind and respectful. And they came back and did 2 more. And so they had to get removed. And I told y'all by Sunday, I'm going to be looking at the neurological decision-making processes of people instead of the behavior that I see. And I was able to do that on Tuesday instead of waiting until Sunday. And then finally, listen. So again, the principles of real leadership that support the astrocytes in your amazing brain. Eliminate distractions. Eliminate and minimize stress. Stay focused. Be prepared. Inspect what you expect and listen. Now, let's look at this. So let's define this from a neural clarity perspective. Astrocytes are star-shaped glial cells that regulate the brain's environment so neurons can fire properly. They're there regulating the environment. Neurons get attention. Astrocytes maintain the order. Leadership parallel. You can't perform at a high level if your internal environment is chaotic. I'm going to say that again. You cannot perform at a high level if your internal environment is chaotic. That is why it is so important to move that SGACC from a low emotional baseline to neutral. Neutral. You don't want to be too excited. That's going to cause too much release of serotonin, dopamine, and endorphins, and the wrong phasic dopamine. That's going to be no brainer. You want to stay at neutral. You want to stay at neutral. So you need that order. You need those principles of real leadership in order for your brain to perform at a high level. Now let's look at a dysregulated brain. That's where the astrocytes are underperforming. When an astrocyte fails to regulate properly, here's what happens. You have excess glutamate in the brain, and that's overexcitation. You have poor potassium regulation, and that means, remember, you want them keeping the potassium in the neuron. That's not happening, and so then it's unstable firing. It's firing, and they're like, the blood-brain barrier disruption. Now you have inflammation. Anybody have inflamed muscles, you know that's not good. It's definitely brain get headaches. It's painful. Synaptic noise. So there's a distraction. That's why eliminate distractions is so important. You decide you're getting ready to work on your Neuro Rep for the day. Everybody coming in the office, messing with you, calling you, texting you, sending you links and everything else. That's the noise. That's stopping you and it's distracting you. So a distracted synapses ain't going to do as good as a non-distracted synapses. So behaviorally, what does it look like? Because that's scientifically, let's see what it looks like. Well, neurologically, what does it look like? Emotional volatility. Up and down. You all over the place. Cognitive fatigue. I'm tired. I can't think of another thought. I'm just going to seek comfort. Difficulty concentrating. You sit down to get something done, and for the life of you, you cannot concentrate. And then overreacting to minor stimuli. You type ADN instead of AND. You go, fuck! Ah! Oh, yeah. It's like Just backspace. It's just a 3-letter word. Just flip the last 2 letters. It's all good. And this violates the following principles of real leadership: eliminate distractions, stay focused, and eliminate minimize stress. So the brain becomes noisy. Yeah, like party over here, got all this stuff going on. You can't focus at all. So nothing is getting done. Now, a regulated brain, when your astrocytes are functioning optimally, here's what happens. Neurotransmitters are cleared on time. They have a postsynaptic connection and a pre and a post. They meet, they release the neurotransmitter from the receptors, bada boom, bada bing. They come in and clean up all the other leftover neurotransmitters, put them back in the presynaptic terminal, and you're done. The synapses reset cleanly. Energy is delivered. You ain't got all these extra neurotransmitters that's not delivering anything. They go where they need to go. The message is there. Boom. And the inflammation is minimized. Behaviorally, this looks like calm focus, emotional stability. That SGACC is sitting at neutral. Clear decision making, because you are thinking first. You are being objective, which is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And it's sustainable performance. You can do the Neuro Reps daily. You can do what you said you were going to do because you have that tonic dopamine being released in a neural clear environment with neutral emotional, or basically emotional neutrality. And this reflects the following principles of real leadership: being prepared, inspect what you expect, and listen to the internal signals that are coming from the Insula and the ACC. This environment is clean and this system runs smoothly. For those of you who are currently doing Neuro Reps, you are functioning at a higher cognitive level. Every day that you do a Neuro Rep, you are keeping that cortisol down. You are not overfiring. You are not under delivering any of your synaptic connections. And that's why now, and Lola said this the other day, my brain feels different. I feel different because that clarity is there. That actual synaptic connections of the right neurons doing the right thing is actually taking place neurologically. And that's why you can't really describe it to people. They just have to do it and experience it for themselves. Now, the brain circuit insight is this: astrocytes regulate synaptic environments, especially glutametric circuits, that glutamate. Prefrontal cortex stability. That's what's happening, is you're bringing that prefrontal cortex online. Your limbic reactivity is gone. It's nowhere near where it used to be. You're not like, every time you turn around, it's you cool as the other side of the pillow. And energy distribution during cognitive effort. You're able to focus, do what you need to do. Use the Pomodoro technique if necessary and move on to the next task and move on to the next thing and focus on it and get it done and complete it. And there is no multitasking or no task jumping, because you can just get her done and move on to the next thing, and you'll be efficient. It won't even take as long. Bridget has said that. I went to go do one thing. I thought it was going to take a bunch of time. I ended up doing 2 more things because I thought I was going to do an hour, and it took me 20 minutes to get done. It only took me 15 minutes to get it done. That's what's happening. The brain is operating. And there you go, Lacey, getting more done in just a few days. Neural clarity. So here's the real leadership translation. Neurons equal visible action. Astrocytes equal invisible standards. And that's why people can't see it. And that's why people see me and it feels like it's effortless, but it wasn't, because it's applied neuroscience. You can't see it. And that's the whole beauty of it. Because it happened up here first. And now what you see is this effortless execution. What you see is efficiency. People always tell us when we leave appointments, that was so fast, that was so fast. But if you looked in the room, we ain't like, whoo, it's not like we're at a fast food restaurant or something in the kitchen and dropping all stuff. It's this very methodical process. Half the time, we're not even talking to each other. It's just quiet. And then the next thing you know, boom, bed, dresser, living room furniture, dining room table, desk, whatever it is. And it's like, wow, you're done already? Whoo, that was fast. but it was neurologically efficient. So real leaders don't just perform, they regulate the environment that allows the performance. I'm going to say that again, and I'm about to make this a highlight. Real leaders don't just perform, they regulate the environment that allows the performance. That is so important. How did it get done? In what environment did it take place in? That's why you have to remove anybody with a survival brain and mindset that just wants comfort and safety, because they're going to be a distraction to your environment in order for you to function at a high level. So it's not enough to just perform. It's where were you when you were performing? Now that I'm not connected to dysregulated people, I'm performing at an extremely high level in an environment that is nurturing me in order for me to perform at this very high level. And these are the principles of real leadership that make that possible. Eliminate clutter, eliminate distractions, and set and maintain high standards. Nola and I said it. If you're not a real leader, you can't come into our life. You can't have access to us, because we had a lifetime of people who had dysregulated brains, and it was always something going on in a survival, comfort seeking, safety brain. Always. Can't think their way out of a wet paper bag. And so we said, no, you want to be over here with us? You will become a real leader. We good without you. And so astrocytes don't chase attention. They maintain order. They are the gatekeeper, the security, so that the synapses and the synaptic connections can do what they came here to do. So it is the environment up here that matters just as much as the environment out here. So you can say, oh, my life is great and wonderful and everything is beautiful, and then this sheer utter neural chaos up here. That's no bueno. So here is the Neuro Rep. Is that your Neuro Rep? Let me see. No. This is what you're going to do for your Neuro Rep. You're going to clean one small physical space completely. The whole thing. No organizing it, no rearranging it. Completely clear it and then reset it. Completely clear it. So Jared, if you was looking for a sign to get your office in order, and Bridget to get it all the way in order completely, I think Bridget did completed hers. Jared, you just still have some work to do. Why are you going to do that? Because the environmental regulation strengthens your prefrontal stability, your inhibitory control, and your cognitive endurance. You are training your astrocyte principle. So you're going to clear it out and then put things back, that the only thing that you're going to have are the things that you need that are going to get you to your 2 levels up. Get that space, clear it completely out, reset it, because that's what's happening in your brain. That's why you have to eliminate stuckmilies and stins. You got to recode somatic markers so that this environment up here is neural clear, and out here too. I told y'all, when somebody talking about they got their shit together and I go to their house and they got shit everywhere, I'm like, no, you don't. Clutter on the outside is clutter on the inside. It's just a manifestation of how much is going on up here. How unclear it is up here shows up out here. That's how that works. And now that I know it's the astrocytes, I'm like, ooh, you need to strengthen your astrocytes. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Because they keeping too much. They're not filtering out. They're not clearing out the neurotransmitters and keeping the environment clear so that synaptic connection can be clean and it can be a fast induction with the myelin sheath. That ain't happening. That ain't happening at all. Not in the least bit. So your Neuro Rep is that. And then what I asked chat additionally, as I said, in clean and simple terms, so that we get this, so that we totally get this. And chat said, astrocytes are helper cells in the brain that keeps everything running smoothly. Everything running smoothly. They are the helper cells. So again, neurons send the messages, neurotransmitters. They have a message, they come together, release the transmitter, and send it off. Astrocytes make sure the environment is clean and stable so those messages can happen properly. So they can just happen without all this extra stuff. I mean, if you think about it, if you're trying to get somewhere in rush hour traffic, it's going to take you forever. You leave early enough, take a side street or something, you're going to get there faster. You ain't going to white knuckle drive it all the way. You get there like, ugh. If you got a house full of shit, everything's on the floor, you wake up late, And now you're trying to get dressed, you can't find nothing. You're looking for your shoe, your keys, your hair, your hat, your coat, your purse, your wallet, and your phone. You trying to get out the house and you can't. Why? Because it's clutter everywhere. The environment is not conducive for you to get out the house on time. I have 4 different go-to outfits that I call my uniform. And depending on the season, if I need to get out the house quickly, I say I'm putting on my uniform. Nola knows I had to get new uniforms because my leggings and stuff was old and too many people got on leggings, so I switched back to jeans. But anyway, I have my go-to outfits. And now I need to get one summer one because I have a spring one. And I put that on. And I got the hair, throw the hair with the headband, the ponytail, and throw some sunglasses on. We're mask free now, thank you. And now I go outside. Quickety lickety split, already ready to go. So I'm not saying, oh, well, what am I gonna put on? Well, then where my shirt at? But where those shoes at? Shoes are still in the boxes, in my hair box closet. Just go grab them. Grab the clothes are color coordinated, boom. Put it on, might change the purse out, might not, and then I'm out the door. And even that is I got a go-to purse, black purse. I just boom, throw my wallet, keys in there, I'm out the door. Because I have a stable environment. I told y'all the only thing we need is our carpet upstairs clean, and that's it. If you came to our house right now, it's no like, ooh, let's move all this stuff so you can sit on the couch. Let's go in my library. Wait, hold up. I gotta get all these blankets and shit off the. That's not the case. My bed is made up right now. Ain't nothing on my dresser but my Bible, open to Proverbs 4, and my 5th grade photo on my dresser. Go in my bathroom. All the stuff that I need, and that's it. I don't have a bunch of fucking shampoos and shit in the shower and all of that because the environment needs to be clear. So it's clutter free. My desk is in brainstorming mode. So I got Post-its on it because ideas are coming because of what I'm teaching you all, and that's it. So the environment needs to be clean and stable so the messages can happen properly. How are you going to be 2 levels up when you can't see 2 feet in front of you? Let me go ahead and make that a highlight. How? You get shit on the stairs. Y'all got a pathway to get up the stairs on the right side because there's shit on the left side that y'all been meaning to get off the stairs. You've been meaning to go through a stack of mail. That's just there. We do organizations for people. They got mail from 5 years ago and from a different address. They didn't moved. Just sitting there. I'm gonna go through it. Let me tell you the mail system that we have. We don't get mail every day. Most of our stuff, a lot of everything is automatic payments or paperless. So we get a little bit of mail. We know we expected mail because we only get a little bit of mail. As soon as we get those mailers in the mail, we go through the garage and put them coupons right in the recycle bin because we don't use none of that shit. And then we go through the mail on the day we got the mail. Now I know that's a novel concept to go through the mail the day the mail came. That's interesting. You go to the mail, our mailboxes we got a key, they're not in the house, attached to the house. You put the key, you grab it out. If you have a package, you get it. And then we put it on the console table, entryway table, just because we're coming in the house with other stuff. And then I give Nola her mail and I take my mail. And then we open it up. And if something needs to be shredded, we put it on top of the shredder. And then multiple times a week, we shred what needs to be shredded. That's it. That's the mail strategy. The day it came in, we open it up. Like I got to go and check. This is my thing for my other crown. So I got to go and call the dentist to make sure that everything is good to go. Because I got a conflict with a different medical appointment. So I got to change the appointment. That's why that's sitting on my desk. So I can call them when the dentist open. You said that's interesting, Monique. The day the mail comes in, you open it. Even if it says final notice, even if it's a shut-off notice, you just open it. You open it and you deal with it. It's like, ooh, I'm going to open that. Ooh, that's the credit card. Yeah, you open it. Open it. It ain't going to change. It ain't going to change. Most of the time it's online now, especially if it's a card attached to your bank. Just open it up and there you go. Go paperless. Go paperless on a lot of stuff and then you'll have less mail. Get on the do not distribute list. You'll have less mail. But that clutter, that one little thing could take some people out. So open the mail when you get the mail. And if you're coming back off vacation like you, Monique, I understand how it could be stacked up. But people ain't always coming off vacation. And that mail is just sitting there. It's not good. It's not eliminating clutter, and you're being personally unaccountable, but not opening it up every day. So what this does is the astrocytes clean up extra chemicals after neurons talk. They keep the right balance of nutrients and ions in the brain and the body. They help control what enters the brain from the bloodstream. That's so interesting. That one just keeps just sitting out for me, because I didn't know that was somebody's job inside of my body and my brain to say, hold up, whoa. What did you just eat? What's coming in here? No, that ain't supposed to be in there. And they support your learning by stabilizing the connection. Sometimes your connections, if you got a bad connection, y'all done said it. I can't hear you, Dr. Donna, I'm buffering. So they're making sure that the connections ain't buffering during learning. Ain't no buffering. Cool as the other side of the pillow. So if neurons are the performers, the astrocytes are the stage crew, making sure the lights, the sound, and the structure are working. And that's what I told Regina. If you go to a concert and the lights ain't working, the sound is off, they bringing out the wrong shit at the wrong time, you can't enjoy the concert. You're like, what are they gonna mess up now? What they about to mess up now? Why they got the spotlight over there and the person is on the stage over there? Yes. So it's the stage crew, it's the lights, it's the sound, it's everything else that makes the performers be able to perform. So that's what you got to think about. If you got a stack of mail sitting somewhere, a clutter-ass existence, your brain can't perform. And the glial cells can't do their part because you got all this wrong. And so look at it this way. And this is a hypothesis, just came to me. And it happens in the brain first. So you got all this chaos going on in the brain. All this, it can't shit happen right up here. And I said clutter's on the outside, but you can't perform well because it's not performing well up here. It ain't happening up here. It's not going to happen out there. You're not going to be able to learn nothing because it's unclear up here. You got leftover. Just imagine if we were in our brains. You got glutamate in the corner. You got some GABA sitting over there. Got a bunch of serotonin and endorphins in that corner. You like, don't worry about them serotonins over there. Just sit down on the couch. You got a bunch of inhibitory neurons just sitting there. You trying to get up and they pulling you back down on the couch when that's because their job is to stop you, but you trying to stand up and the comfort is coming and you like, let me go. Gotta go pee. That's what's happening. You got overfiring. They're like, wow. They over there, and then you say, shh, I gotta go to sleep. They're like, ah! They making all kind of noise when you want them to be quiet. You trying to read a book, and they like, party over here. Party of glutamate, bitch. Glue. When I say glue, you say tomate. Glue, tomate. Glue, tomate. And now you trying to figure out why you can't get nothing done. Because it ain't no neural clarity up there. The astrocytes can't get shit done. They running around trying to have a whole bunch of stuff. They like, whoo, you got some problems. They trying to stop what's coming in the bloodstream, regulate this. They trying to do all that. Ain't nothing happening correctly. And then you out in your regular world and it's showing up with shit everywhere. Go home and assess your life. Get in your car and move all the water bottles out the way. It's happening up here. It ain't right up here. You know how people say something ain't right up there. Something ain't right up there. It ain't going well. It ain't Hebb's law. It's, oh my goodness, what in the law? What in the world? That's what's happening. It's not going well up here. And it's showing up out here everywhere. Now you got it. I done saved your whole life today. Okay. All right. So where we at? So if neurons are the performers, astrocytes are the stage crew. So without astrocytes, the brain would be noisy, unstable, and inflamed. Sound like you'd be seeking comfort and safety in an untrained brain. Survival. Doesn't that make sense now? Doesn't that make sense that you would just be trying to seek comfort and safety and survival? You're just trying to get through the end of the day. Because it's noisier than a mug up here. It's unstable. You ain't got that connectivity. The synapses like, just send some glutamate. No, just send it. Just get real excitable. That's why everybody got a doom scroll. That's why everybody is overexcited. Because the inhibitories can't inhibit shit. They like, I'm exhausted. Just let them go. Inflamed in the brain. Instead of insane in the membrane, you inflamed in the brain. Head start hurting, you get a headache. That's because there's pressure in the head. So what do? You lay down. Netflix and chill. You scroll. That's what's happening in your life. So it's very simple. Astrocytes are the brain's regulators and protectors. That's what they do. They're protecting you from you and regulating you from you. And here's a closing example. Think about your kitchen. Somebody like, pick a different room, Dr. Donna. Pick a different damn room. No, I want to think about my kitchen. No. Let's think about the kitchen. And not this kitchen back here, but your kitchen at your house. If the counters are covered and dishes are stacked and trash can overfloweth and groceries are everywhere, can you cook efficiently? Can you? That's my question to you. If the counters are covered and dishes are stacked, the trash is full, and groceries are everywhere, can you cook efficiently? And Jared said, nope. Somebody said, gross. The question was, can you cook efficiently? This person said, let me go ahead and get rid of them. Okay. Now imagine that the counters are clear. The sink is empty. Everything that you need is where it belongs. The utensils are where they belong. The pots, the pans, the dishes, the glasses, the seasoning, the food, the knives, the cutlery. And everything is clean. You're going to be able to cook one hell of a meal. You're going to be able to do that. So here is the brain translation. The cook is the neurons. And the clean kitchen is the astrocytes. So the astrocytes don't cook, they don't perform, and they don't take credit. But they keep that environment clean so that the performance is possible. That's how important they are. So most adults try to perform better without cleaning the environment. That's what most adults try to do. Oh no, Dr. Donna, I don't need to go to level 1 because see what I'm going to do. How many times y'all heard me say, you can't do this without me? You can't do this without doing Neuro Reps. And everybody, no, see, because I just need to wake up early to that cluttered ass existence. No, because see, I'm working with my therapist. How long you been in therapy? 7 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. That's working. See how people think they could do it? You can't cook in a disheveled kitchen. I don't know what that food going to taste like, and I don't know what you're going to serve it on if all the dishes is in the sink. But you could try. And you might be able to fix you something to eat, but you're not preparing a good meal. Not going to be healthy because the shit you might need might already be dirty. And forget it, I'm just put a bunch of seasoning on it. We're going to throw it here. That one pot, you might have the wrong oil. But so it might be some food available. That's what people think. People think they can listen to me on Instagram and TikTok and wherever else. I'll just watch all your videos. In your cluttered ass brain and your cluttered ass life. And you think you about to do some shit right. You not. And I'm like, okay, cool. You ain't got to go over there, but you're going to be up here cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Ain't nothing about to change. So the principles of real leadership that require you to be in a clean environment up here so you can be in a clean environment out here are eliminate the clutter, eliminate distractions, eliminate and minimize stress, stay focused. That's Astrocyte real leadership. So if your brain feels chaotic, you don't need no damn motivation. Y'all notice how that works? But see, I just need to be motivated. How you going to motivate some astrocytes? Their job is to keep the environment clean and pure for you to perform. Then you can't be like, go astrocytes, go astrocytes. You a bad bitch, you a bad bitch, astrocytes, astrocytes. That's not going to work. It's not going to work. You're stopping them from being able to do what they are neurologically capable of doing. It's not going to work. You need better regulation. You need a Neuro Rep. You need a neuro broom, a neuro vacuum. You need gatekeepers. You need people saying, clean off this kitchen counter. Wash them damn dishes. Put them groceries up. Get the water off the fucking floor and put it in a cabinet. And then you can clean up your environment, strengthen your astrocytes and your real leadership. You can't do it. You cannot do it. Try to get dressed with a bunch of shit all over everywhere, over the whole house, and get out the house on time. Shit all over the bathroom counter, makeup, brushes, beard, shit, and all kind of lotions and vitamin, everything on the counter. You can't find your toothbrush. You like, fuck it, I just ain't gonna brush my teeth today. Yeah, I'm just grab something. Now you got damn containers in your car, food containers. We know exactly what you had all week for lunch because the containers is still in the back seat of your car. Got to do the work one day at a time, one Neuro Rep at a time. Incredible. Yes, ma'am. I told y'all I'm the baddest mofo walking the face of the planet Earth. So let me ask you this, because tomorrow we're going to be working on, I'm going to fuck this right on up. Oligodendrocytes. Oligodendrocytes. There we go. Oligodendrocytes. Oligodendrocytes. That's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. So do y'all understand the importance of these astrocytes? Do you understand the value of them cleaning up your environment so your neurons can actually fire and wire and talk to each other and transmit the correct neurotransmitters without making the environment unstable so you can get to where you're trying to get? Just think of the express lane, highway, express lane. Think of a plane. If you got to get from Detroit to Las Vegas, and you got to basically look at it this way, I don't know if they still got the mega bus or not, but the mega bus was worse than the Greyhound. So you can either get a one-way, a nonstop flight from Detroit to Vegas and get here, I think, in under 4 hours. Or you can be on mega bus and get here at some point, at some time. That's your mind. You want a nonstop flight, communication, everything going well, or you want to be on mega bus? So the glio and the astrocytes are support and regulation. An astrocyte is a type of glio cell. That's what they are. It's a type of them. So you have glial cells, and it's 85 billion of them, almost 86 billion. And it's a type of glial cell. There are 4 main types that we're going to be talking about this week. And today is astrocytes. Yes. Is it clear now? So today we've gone over the function, and you and I can talk some more. Megabus, I remember those buses. Yes. Mega mess. Mega mess is what it was. So I am grateful to Quantumoscopy for saying that, a quantumoscopy. I'm fucking up the username. When he, she, they, them come back, I can say it again and say thank you. So that's why I'm okay with getting feedback from people. I told you I will take information from anybody. And they said it after I said something about neurons. And they said, oh, I love astrocytes. I was like, the fuck is an astrocyte? So y'all talking, I'm texting. I was like, oh, this is important. And that's how we got here. So when you think you know everything and you can't learn anything from anybody else, you can't grow continually. Because now I took that one word. That's how, just think about it. And now we got a whole week's worth of information from somebody in the comment section saying, I love astrocytes. And now you have this whole other information about glial cells, and it's a 1-for-1 swap. And the supporting cast is just like neurons, neuroplasticity, neuroplasticity, neurons that fire together, wire together. Not in an environment that's cluttered. That's where that sizzle and fizzle comes from. Sizzle and fizzle. Sizzle and fizzle. Let's see. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have an internet troll. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get the graphic for Charlie Link or Lurk 234. Ladies and gentlemen, We have an internet troll that entered the building. Woo! Let's get the graphic out for her. Let's get this graphic out. Charlie, baby, don't go nowhere, because I might not pop a tit for you, but I definitely gonna pop a graphic for you. All right, all right, all right. Charlie is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Charlie told me, shut up and pop a tit. And it Papa Tiddy, Tiddy. That's what Charlie Lurk 234 told Dr. Donna this morning. Shut up and show me what you're working with. All right, Charlie, you are experiencing internet troll brain. And right now you want me to have a reaction. And you're being very impulsive and vulgar this morning to get your phasic dopamine boost. Oh, and you're seeking conflict this morning. You went there today, Charlie. Baby, did you go there? Woo! All right. Bet I'm going to watch. Good. Listen, take notes, boo-boo. Take notes. Take notes, baby. Yes. And you are a validation addict coming here for problems. You said, this is it. I am going to, she talking about the brain. I'm going to insult her. I'm going to put her at her woman level. I'm going to make her get mad. I'm going to get her excitatory. I'm going to hijack her amygdala left and right, baby. Ooh, I'm about to give it to her. And what are you actually doing, Mr. Charlie? Charlie? Is your last name Wilson? Ooh, I'm feeding your dopamine. Baby, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Look at y'all. Look at Charlie 10 toes down on his identity protection. And he's saying, look at him. Right now, he's a validation addict. That doggone amygdala is fire, baby. Whoo-wee. He's like, give me that phasic dopamine. Give me that phasic dopamine. Give me that phasic dopamine. What else you got, Charlie, for us this morning, since you trolling? And you're trolling. Trolling on the internet, trolling. Charlie keeps on trolling. Ow! Neurons are firing faster than usual. Charlie is not working, sir. Just want to wish you a good day. Now Charlie is ready. No. Stay, Charlie. Don't leave, baby. Stay. Stay for a little while. Don't talk. Just listen. Sorry you left us. Let me get rid of the other person because they think they about to troll too. It's a one troll rule over here. You'll stay. Okay, Charlie. So Charlie, break it down for us. What was the purpose of your first comment since you're here? What were you thinking? Walk us through that. We're gonna unpack your neural pathways. Since you're a willing participant, you like trolling, and I gave you what you came here for. I'm your pusher woman. I gave you your phasic dopamine. What made you type those two statements first? Like, of all the things you could have typed in the whole world, let me come back on camera because I want you to see my face. What made you type that? Because we like firsthand observations on here, so own it. Hold yourself personally accountable is the number one principle of real leadership. What made you type it twice? I'm curious. Walk us through your neurological decision-making process from your limbic system, because that was not a prefrontal cortex decision, because inhibitory control would have told you don't type that. Your ACC would have registered that as a mismatch and said, treat people with dignity and respect. Believe it or not, I get more replies than that saying, hello, how are you today? Okay, so that's not what I asked you, Charlie. Listen. Linda, listen to me. Listen is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. It's not. It's actually not. So help me understand if what you're saying, first of all, it's prefrontal cortex. It's not the frontal cortex, because that's not where decision making happens. The decision making happens in your dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Actually, you receive an alert from the insula. It notifies the ACC. The ACC cleans up the message, sends it to the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. Ventromedial prefrontal cortex tells the amygdala to stand down, sends a clear message to the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, encodes it in the basal ganglia, and then you have this habit of trolling that's in your brain. That's what's happening. So my original question to you was, why did you say what you said? So own that. What made you type what you said? Not what you usually do. You did something different this morning. You opted for something vulgar. So my question to you is, if you have a fully developed frontal cortex, as you said, What made you type 2 vulgar statements to someone that you don't even know? You didn't even buy me a drink first. Right. So why did you type that? Be accountable. Because you said you got a fully functioning frontal cortex and that you received your phasic dopamine boost. So why did you type it a third time? Because the third time is a trend. So why did you do it again? Ladies and gentlemen, do you see? I said I don't. I'm only 12. You're lying because you have to be 18 to be on this live. See the deflection, ladies and gentlemen? So Charlie can be personally accountable for the 3 times that Charlie typed that statement. So now Charlie is backpedaling. And if Charlie was actually in Charlie's frontal cortex, then Charlie would be using one of the 74 principles of real leadership, which is to apologize when you are wrong. You would be using treat people with dignity and respect, and you would be using exercise tact, and you're not using any of those today. You're using your limbic system to attempt to communicate with me at a very low functioning level for you, and I'm at a very high functioning level. Excellence. You still there, Charlie? Okay. And Charlie, the original question that's still on the table, why did you type the vulgar statement that you typed 3 times? So you have to own your words. You typed it 3 different times across several other messages. So my question to you, Charlie, is why did you type that? If you normally type, hey, how you doing? What's up? Hello. What made you type something the total opposite? Even though your ACC registered that as a mismatch and the inhibition control, inhibitory control in your executive function told you don't do that. Why did you listen to your limbic system and type it not once, not twice, but 3 times? Why did you do that? Now, the reason why you can't answer the question is because you actually don't know. Impulse in control, uncontrolled. You didn't have it in control. So you just did it impulsively 3 times. But 3 times is a trend. So that means you were actually conscious of doing it by the 3rd time because I had already brought it to your attention. Are you still here, Charlie? No? Let's drink some water, y'all. We about to go here and finish doing what we're doing because I just got the brain bit. Charlie, you here? Because I want to talk about you behind your back. But I'm going to keep talking. And perhaps you're lingering, so you want me to say something, so then you could refute what I said. But the main thing is you didn't own what you said 3 times. You said a lot, but you said one thing 3 times. And you didn't own why you said it. You couldn't explain to us. You said I gave you some dopamine. You like dopamine. You're using your frontal cortex. But now you're not using your disinhibition effect. You're not thumb thugging it. You don't have a response. And now Charlie might be gone. So ladies and gentlemen, Charlie did not execute inhibitory control. Charlie demonstrated the entire gamut of the internet troll brain. And then Charlie said, I apologize, gang, 100%. Charlie tried to deflect because what Charlie was not ready for was the internet troll brain bit. Charlie was not ready for a brain graphic. Charlie was not ready to be held personally accountable. Charlie did not own the vulgarity of his statement that he said 3 times. Charlie made an impulsive decision, decided because I was talking about the brain that I did not deserve his normal, hey, good morning, how you doing? So I'm going to throw her off her square. I'm going to say something vulgar to her, and she's not going to be able to tell people about the brain. He was not ready for the art of wars, the element of surprise. We're ready for trolls over here. We ready. We ready. We ready. We are ready for the internet trolls. We're ready for the QEs and their academic check that they have to prove before they can participate. We ready. So the whole notion of if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. I ain't got to get ready. I already got the graphics ready. So Charlie could not answer for his actions. He neurologically could not say why he did what he did. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Said the same thing, and it didn't have its impact. So what did we learn, ladies and gentlemen? Charlie actually didn't get his phasic dopamine that he came here to get, but he got a lesson. He got a lesson to FAFO over here. You could come over here and you can leap, but you're going back with a wounded amygdala, with a wounded limbic system. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. Okay? So it's going to be an interesting internet troll journey as they continue to attempt to come here. Word on the troll street should be just drive past. Just drive past. So Charlie was unaccountable. Charlie has an untrained, dysregulated brain seeking safety and comfort, and Charlie had to take the L today. Dr. Donna for the win. Gang, gang. Now let me go ahead and block Charlie out. And I think it's the perfect time for us to go ahead and take our 60 seconds of pausing so we can woosah and get ready to finish out the live. So what I'm going to do is get to my timer, and we are going to have 60 seconds of pure peace up in here. And you will hear my timer go off, and that will let you know that your peace for today. So as we focus on strengthening our SGACC to get it to neutral when it comes to our emotional baseline, this is the perfect time to make that happen. So I'm going to count you in. I'm going to turn around. We'll get a better graphic on there. I'll go back to my original graphic. And let's help these astrocytes out. 3, 2, 1. All right. Guess who's back? Okay, let's go ahead and do our brain bit for today. I did not mean to create a highlight for that. It's going to be okay. Wrong button. All right, today's brain bit. I say this quite often, and so I decided to go ahead and make it a brain bit. Let me get back into my notes. All right. Cool as the other side of the pillow brain. I say it often. I don't think I go alive without saying it. So let's check out what that means metaphorically. When someone says cool as the other side of the pillow, metaphorically, they are describing a regulated nervous system. That is what is taking place. So that brain is not hijacked by the amygdala, not overactivated in the stress responses, not chasing dopamine spikes. So it's not chasing phasic dopamine, and it's not collapsing into avoidance. Instead, the prefrontal cortex is online with clear thinking. The ACC is steady. It's low internal conflict. The insula is regulated, and so there's accurate body awareness and no panic detected. And there is balanced autonomic nervous system. That means that the sympathetic and parasympathetic systems are in a rhythm. In simple terms, what does that mean? The cool brain is a brain that can feel pressure without reacting from survival mode. That is what's taking place. That brain is kicking it. That brain is chilling like nobody's business. Cool. Look at it. Just sitting there, chilling. So what's happening biologically? Cortisol is not flooding the system. That is a cortisol-free system in the prefrontal cortex. You need cortisol, but you don't need it causing brain fog. The GABA is helping calm the excitatory signals, and you all studied GABAs last week. The vagus nerve is supporting the parasympathetic tone of rest and digest, which is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. Relax. You're helping out your parasympathetic system. The heart rate and the breathing are steady. That's looking like 106 over there, over 80 or whatever it is on the bottom number. Executive function remains intact. So this is not suppression. This is actual regulation. So here are some everyday examples. You get criticized publicly. Somebody say, let me see them itty bitty titties. Show me one. And the survival brain would get defensive, over-explain, and attack back, and maybe even shut it down. But a cool as the other side of the pillow brain pauses, assesses, and responds with a graphic that says we have an internet troll in our midst. And it maintains an internal standard. And you know what that is, ladies and gentlemen? That's real leadership. In real life, in real time, under real pressure, live. That's personal accountability under pressure. And the brain circuits that are being used for this is the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, Ms. Darlene. Cognitive control. The ACC, Ms. Brenda Jones, error detection without emotional flooding. That's that neutrality in that SGACC, baby. The amygdala, activated, but not in charge. And the vagus nerve got regulation pathways. So here is the alignment from the principles of real leadership when you are cool as the other side of the pillow. Be a thermostat, not a thermometer. You set the temperature, you don't take it. Think positive at all times. Eliminate and minimize the stress. Handle conflict when it occurs. I think I did a superb job of handling conflict. And Charles has switched accounts on us. Coming back, same profile photo. And be prepared. Was I not prepared for the troll? Didn't I say yesterday after doing it as a brain bit, I'm going to keep this as a graphic because trolls going to keep doing what trolls do because they got predictable behaviors in that survival, comfort, seeking, safety brain. So I keep my graphic ready. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Because cool is not personality. Cool is training, baby. That's what it is. So yeah, you want to be cool as the other side of the pillow. Because that's what a high-functioning, emotionally regulated brain does. Cool as the other side of the pillow. Now, Charles, you're back and you've switched accounts. And you typed something and you deleted it. The only way you get to stay is to account for your behavior. So for a fourth time and a final time, why did you type what you typed 3 times? Let's see if you're going to hold yourself personally accountable before we get out of here and answer our last 2 questions for the day. Why, if you're still here, Charles, did you type that vulgar statement 3 times to someone in a brain t-shirt talking about the brain, minding their own business on their own live? Why did you do it? After 843 consecutive days of going live, you chose February 24th, 2026 at 6:15 Pacific Standard Time, now 6:39:40 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You still there, Charles? You still there? So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what Charles wrote because I saw a paragraph. I kept going. Charles deleted it. I have no idea what Charles said. But I do know that Charles is being personally unaccountable because Charles is not answering the question that I asked. And one of the 74 principles of real leadership is, if you don't know, ask. So I'm asking what appears to be a very simple question for a behavior that Charles demonstrated 3 times. a person typed something vulgar and borderline, I wouldn't even say borderline, it could have been offensive to a lesser person, committed to it, and attempted to defend it, but never explained why it occurred 3 times. And in my corporate years, when something takes place 3 times, that's a trend. So it happens, and it's happening on purpose. It's not an accident. 1 time is an accident, twice maybe. 3 times, you're doing it on purpose. So Charles, if you're still here, why did you type it? Going once. Going twice. Let's see if Charles got a 3rd YouTube account. Okay. Here go your questions for today. What did you learn today? And what did you learn about yourself? What did you learn today? And drink water while you're thinking, because I did it off camera. We got Jared thinking, we got Daisy thinking, we got Lola thinking, we got Monique thinking. I'm sure Nola's thinking is coming. And Regina's listening. Doom, doom, doom. Ha. Doom, doom, doom. Ha. And Nola is thinking. Monique said, I learned that the neurons are supported by the star-shaped glial cells by stabilizing and protecting the brain environment in order for them to perform efficiently, and they are astrocytes. Yes. Great summation. And Monique is thinking again. Lacey is thinking. Oligodendrocytes. 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 All right. Monique said, I learned about myself that the more I declutter and organize my environment, the better my brain can perform excellence. Also, holding on to the past and things is not allowing seeds to be planted in a proper environment. Yes, ma'am. Jared said, I learned today that astrocytes keep the brain clean and healthy. Yes, sir. Lola said, I learned that the astrocytes help a lot. It's and also having me thinking. Yes, ma'am. I know you're going to come up with something good, Lola, once you process it. Oligodendrocytes. 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 Them 2 D's is fucking with me. Oligodendrocytes. Oligodendrocytes. Dendrocytes. It's plus because of my high cheekbones. Oligodendrocytes. I was 5 days on adenosine and dopaminergic. Whoo! That took me out. Yeah, the microglia is fine, the ependymal cells, but that oligodendrocytes? Nola said, I learned astrocytes are a glial cell. Yes, ma'am. If you have questions when we go into the appointment, we can further go into what that is. And Regina, let me know the summation worked for you. I learned that my astrocytes calms my overactive neurons. Do, do, do. Yes, ma'am. Boom, 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 boom. Oligodendrocytes. Oligodendrocytes. Dendrocytes. Oligodendrocytes. Notice that I learned about myself. I need to do more research after class on astrocytes. You can make that your question today for your Real Leader resources. Oligodendrocytes. Dendrocytes. Lacey, if you typed, I can't see what your answer is. I just see your brain with your brain emoji. Oligodendrocytes. Dendrocytes. Oligodendrocytes. Oligodendrocytes. Okay, I'm going to come back on while Daisy and Lacey type up their last thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's what I will say. And my thing is tripping again. YouTube, really got to get it right on my phone. I do not want to have to buy a new phone because of YouTube. That's no brainer. But I might have to. It was working, and then when I came back the third time, it wasn't. Here's my summation for today. What's his name? I just forgot his name. That was vulgar. I can't even think of the man's name. Anyway, the troll, that was the lesson for today. When people with dysregulated, untrained brains are held accountable, they have identity protection, and they are not going to account for their unaccountable behavior. He did everything he could, but be honest about what he did, why he did what he did 3 times. He even came back and switched accounts. Now, part of the reason why he couldn't be honest, as we know, when you get ready to tell the truth, your insula registers that as physical pain. And it's not going to it's going to defend it with all its might. Because if a survival brain means if I tell you the truth, that's going to make me appear weak. And I can't appear weak even though I started shit with you. It is cognitive dissonance at the highest level. He did everything he could, but account for how we came into his contact. He came here saying 2 vulgar statements back to back and then doubled down on it. And said everything but why he did what he did. Because in the default mode network, if you are in a high functioning brain, Charlie, thank you. In a high functioning brain, you self-reflect when you're by yourself. In an untrained, low functioning brain, you never self-reflect in your default mode network. You mind wander, daydream, and ruminate. But what you don't do is say, why did I say that 3 times? And even if you did, you don't possess the neural pathways to own it and do something about it. So the insula is either numb or overexcited. And the ACC is at a low, that SGACC is at a low emotional baseline. So the last thing you're going to do is account for your vulgarity, because now you have to look at yourself and say, why did I say that publicly to her? Now you got to look at, because I said it was vulgar. Now I just called you vulgar. And no one may have ever called Charlie vulgar before, but now you thought you were going to make me go, this is disgusting. How could you? So you wanted to assert yourself as dominance and as a man and have me be compliant in some way. And what you got was a mirror, a neuro mirror. And nobody joined in the comments. And what trolls are accustomed to is that people will jump on and attack the person. But that's not this environment. We got a 1 troll at a time rule over here. And if I'm addressing 1 troll, the other ones get blocked. That's the way it works over here, because we're using them as the example. We're in real life, under pressure, real time, saying dysregulated, untrained brain. You are dysregulated and you are untrained. And you are in an environment where that is unacceptable. So you need to be personally accountable for your poor performance, your poor decision making today. And that's not something that Charlie could do. Now, when you have a regulated brain, and he said, I'm sorry to y'all, but then he could not say why he did what he did, because he actually doesn't know why he did it, because of a lack of self-reflection, because the amygdala said this is a good idea. And then they left him out to dry. So Daisy said, I learned about myself today that the astrocytes helps form blood-brain barriers. And we have another person who I will not be reading anything that they said. I'm just going to get them out of here. Because what that troll heard was, oh, she's addressing trolls. Let me get my phasic dopamine in today. But they didn't understand because they weren't here to know that Charlie was the troll lesson for today. I'm demonstrating this for you because, first of all, I'm strengthening my brain to assess neurologically what untrained, unaccountable adults are doing. Instead of taking it personally, it's neurological. And that's what I have to do in order for this work to be furthered. I have to lead by example and say, okay, you're saying something vulgar to me 3 times on my live and disrupting my live. So let's let you be the lesson and let's implement the internet troll system that I implemented or started yesterday. That's what's actually happening. And I want you to be accustomed to seeing it. So as you continue to strengthen your brain, you will see the dysregulation in your day-to-day life and you will start to process it differently. You won't take it personally. You will say, oh, okay, this is an untrained, dysregulated brain. Let me assess probably what's taking place. And the more you study the brain and master the brain and teach others how to do the same, you will then recognize what's taking place. So you will be able to see it as clear as day. And you'll go, oh, okay, cool. So how am I going to respond to what's taking place? Is it even necessary for me to respond to what's taking place? And 9 times out of 10, the answer would be no. I'm just allowing it to occur so you all can see the mind of a troll and how it needs that phasic dopamine every single day. And when it doesn't get it, identity protection, it's going to go into defensive mode, threat protection, as if I came to his live and started saying vulgar things to him. The switch is there because the troll is not prepared to be held personally accountable. Enjoy your day too if you got to go, Lola. So that's my summation for today. I think everybody, did you, Lacey, you said I learned about myself that the small task of cleaning my room declutters my mind too. Okay. All right. So I think it was a fascinating live today. I believe that astrocytes are the business. They are amazing. Looking forward to the oligodendrocytes. Dendrocytes. I'm practicing that today because I got to say that a lot tomorrow. So, woo! Got to get it. Got less than 24 hours to get it done. I'll be saying it all day on day. Up and be asleep. Oligodendrocytes. 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 Whew. All right. It's worth it though. So thank you so much. God willing, higher power in the universe. I will be back tomorrow. Same time, same place, safe space, different brain t-shirt. You all go off and have a brain-tastic day. Your Neuro Reps will be ready by 8 o'clock a.m. because we got to leave by 8:30. Take care. Adios. Oh, wait. Lacey said, I learned about myself that the small Neuro Reps task is making such a huge difference. Cleaning my mirror mattered. Yes, ma'am. It is just it's in your daily. That's the tagline. It's a Neuro Rep a day, gonna strengthen that brain in a very unique way. All right, y'all take care. Have an amazing day, and I will see whomever is available. Y'all see me. I'll see your profile photo. Por la mañana. Take care. Adios. It works. It does. It works. So work it because you're worth it. And that's Al-Anon. Adios.